Once a very lavish hotel, the huge Baker was the site of many wonderful times. Set in the backdrop of the bustling early 20th century, the Baker was a reflection of all that America was. The hotel, born at the beginning of the Great Depression, survived the financial hardships of the era to witness the greatest war mankind has ever seen. Becoming one of the state's most lavish resorts, the Baker built a magnificent reputation and attracted people from all walks of life for one reason or another. In 1914, the Crazy Water Hotel was erected and became the center of activities. But for a devastating fire in March of 1925 destroyed most of the building. It was then that a man by the name of T.B. Baker, a wealthy hotel businessman, decided to build a grand hotel in Mineral Wells based on the Arlington Hotel in Hot Springs, Arkansas. Baker owned several hotels throughout Texas at the time, including the St. Anthony, the Gunther, the Menger Hotel in San Antonio, the Stephen F. Austin in Austin, the Texas Hotel in Fort Worth, the Baker in Dallas, the Goodhue in Port Arthur, the Galvez in Galveston, the Edison in Beaumont, and the Sterling Hotel in Houston. Construction began in 1926 and was completed in 1929 at a cost of $1,250,000. The facility magnificently reflected the spirit of the Roaring Twenties. Its 14 stories towered over the small town of 7,000 residents like a brown brick giant. It had 460 rooms, 2 completed spas, and is what is said to be the first Olympic-sized swimming pool in the United States. It rivaled any hotel in New York or Chicago. Many celebrities visited or performed at the Baker, according to the old hotel registers. The Baker hosted the Three Stooges, Clark Gable, Judy Garland, Will Rogers, Marlene Dietrich, General Pershing, LBJ, Jean Harlow, Sammy Kaye, Jack Dempsey, Sam Rayburn, Helen Keller, Ronald Reagan, and Mary Martin, just to name a few. According to an article on Palo Pinto County History, Volume Number 1, a waiter recalled a $2 tip given to him by outlaws Bonnie Parker and Clyde Barrow, although he didn't recognize them at the time. Many big bands blasted out their tunes from the Sky Room at the top of the building or on the first floor, the Brazos Room. Lawrence Welk remembered his starting out days at the Baker when he still had difficulty with English. Other entertainers at the time that visited the Baker included Guy Lombardo, Paul Whitman, Dorothy Lamour, and later Pat Boone. World War II ushered in a new era for the hotel, with the growth of the nearby Fort Walters. The base eventually became the largest infantry replacement base in the country, with 30,000 soldiers passing through its gates in 1942 alone. The Baker was then at its peak, catering to both civilians and military personnel. Life in America, however, began to change in the 1950s. The FDA cracked down on inflated advertising on all cure-all tonics, and mineral water changed the way that we viewed medicine. New antibiotic drugs and preventative medicine soon became the healthcare mainstream as the need for mineral water began to fade. The interstate highway system in the late 1960s rerouted the main flow of traffic out of Mineral Wells and I-20, 14 miles south, cut off a major financial artery to the town. In 1952, Mr. T.B. Baker retired. Since he had no children, he left his hotel empire to his nephew, Earl Baker, who was already a very successful part of the business. Earl Baker lived in San Antonio and said that he would continue to operate the Baker in Mineral Wells until his 70th birthday. True to his word, on April 30th, 1963, the Baker closed its doors. But not for long. A group of civic leaders managed to reopen a hotel in 1965, but with very little profit, the hotel closed for good in 1970. In a strange twist of fate, Earl Baker was visiting the hotel for one last time on December 3, 1967, when he suddenly died of a massive heart attack. It was as if the hotel dealt him a vengeful blow for the years of declining glory and subjugated neglect. In 1973, the Army closed Fort Walters, yet another major blow to Mineral Wells' economy. By the late 1970s, the city had lost one-third of its population. The oil and gas industry moved in and sparked some hope, but in 1985, It went bust, leaving the town once again desperate for an economic future. Although the city of Mineral Wells has recovered to a small degree, its once beautiful hillsides are slowly being depleted by brick plants, and factory-depleted town survives on an economic base, far below yesterday's glory days and the fame of its healing water. The Baker ceased operations as a hotel in the mid-1960s as resort travel declined. The ground floor was still utilized for a few years by merchants, but the doors were finally locked on the Baker in 1972. The Baker Hotel and Spa, located about an hour west of Fort Worth, is expected to reopen in 2024 or 2025 with 165 guest rooms, event ballrooms, a spa, restaurant, coffee shop, and some retail options. I can tell you from visiting the Baker Hotel many times in Mineral Wells, I'm very much looking forward to seeing the grand old girl come back to life again.